Well, usually the news we report is bad news. The headlines almost always speak of the worst in our world, but here is the exception. Tonight, a new ranking by U.S. News and World Report reveals which countries are the best countries on the planet. And the headline should read, Secrets and Success of Swiss Bliss. Yes, that neutral, landlocked, alpine winter wonderland, Switzerland, ranks as the best country in the world. Canada, as you see right there, stays at number 2. The United Kingdom, Brexit country, steady, number 3. Now, Germany is down from being first last year to 4th. And the United States, well, not so great again, down from 4th to 7th place. Well, I'm joined now by the author of that report, Deidre McPhillips of U.S. News and World Report. She joins me from Washington, and from Zurich, Switzerland, I'm joined by Peter Hössli. He is editor-at-large of one of the country's leading newspapers, Blick. Good evening to you both. Peter, I'm going to start with you and say congratulations and ask you, how did you guys do it? What is in all of that milk you Swiss drink?
Well, thanks a lot. I mean, it's probably not the milk. It's probably more our tax system and our democracy. We are a very federal country, meaning that everyone goes to vote every 3 months, and we talk about, or we the people can decide about pretty much everything that the government does. And we have a very small government. We are a very modern country, and I would say that our education system is excellent. These are probably the 3 things: good tax system, small government, and great education.
Okay, we're going to go through those in just a moment. I'm going to come back to you. Deidre, let me ask you, talk to me a little bit about how this ranking is put together. I mean, is it all about data and facts, or are there perceptions as well?
Sure. So U.S. News joined together with our partners, Y&R's BAV Consulting, and also the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, because we wanted to explore this concept of a country's brand. And we really wanted to understand how perceptions of a country can drive investment in that country and tourism to that country and the wealth of that country. Mm-hmm. So we measured perceptions on a variety of factors and how those played into wealth of a country.
And so when you ask people...
And so what you see is...
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think Peter hit the nail on the head. What you see are a lot of countries that have strong social welfare states rising to the top of these rankings, because things like gender equality and human rights play a large part in the wealth of a country.
Peter, Switzerland was ranked very high for citizenship. I mean, you know, you are in the home country of direct democracy. And it's interesting, isn't it? You know, we've got the rest of the world trying to do democracy. We've got Brexit referendums. We've got manipulated elections with Trump results, some would say. I mean, it seems to be a mess in many democracies. There seems to be a Swiss secret to direct democracy. What is the secret?
Well, for one thing is we've been doing it for many, many years, or many decades, actually. And then it's not the central government who organizes democracy. It's pretty much the communal governments, the little villages. So you actually drop your vote every 3 months at the little village, at the schoolhouse or at the church, or you drop an envelope. It's volunteers who count these votes. We don't have electronic voting. Every vote is counted by hand and recounted. And there is always 2 people looking at these votes. And so everybody's kind of involved in democracy, or in the direct democracy. And we would never give it away. It's one of those holy cows, as we call it.
I mean, yeah, well, we know the Swiss love their cows, but I'm thinking that maybe this is a case where size matters, and it matters if it's small. Democracy works best, if I'm hearing you right, when it's done in small portions, small dimensions.
Well, I mean, Switzerland only has about 8.2 million people who live here. About 20% are not Swiss citizens. They have foreign passports, so they cannot vote. And as you said, you're correct. I mean, it's a small country, but it also has to do with the trust. You know, like we actually have, our government is trusted highly. We don't have a lot of corruption. And I think this goes together, and we pretty much vote about everything. I mean, if the city I live in wants to build a new school, they ask me, the taxpayer, whether I want to have this school or not. And if the government wants to buy a new fighter jets, the whole country is asked whether we want to buy those fighter jets. So we actually do have politicians. We do have politicians, but the last word in pretty much everything is with the people. And I think that's the secret of Swiss democracy.
That's a lot of questions and answers. Wow. I mean, you guys are busy all the time. Deidre, let me ask you about the UK just for a moment. Were you surprised that the UK did so well, considering we've heard so much negative resonance following the Brexit referendum?
So the United Kingdom kept its number 3 spot from last year, and it was a bit of a surprise, but I think it's just an indication that the initial shock of Brexit might have leveled out across the world.
Okay, so we've got that shock that's leveled out. What about the United States falling so much in the ranking? Why did that happen?
So the United States did fall 3 spots as well. So something to keep in mind is this year compared to last year, we added 20 more countries to the ranking. So there were 20 additional countries to compare the U.S. to. We also conducted the survey just a week after the U.S. election happened, so that shock might not have been as stabilized yet. The U.S. fell in a few key rankings, and so overall just
it didn't do as well.
Spots.
Switzerland, let me get back to you, Peter. Switzerland did not do so well in the category of adventure. And adventure is defined in this survey as a country being fun, friendly, and sexy. So what does that tell us? The Swiss are punctual, they make good watches, but no one wants to invite them to the party.
Yeah, that is our big problem. I mean, we get nervous if our trains run by 1 or 2 minutes late, and it makes us a bit boring, and Switzerland is a boring place, I would say, and we are more about efficiencies. We are more about our banks. But if you want to have fun, go skiing. I mean, you have the best fun here as a tourist. But you know, like we don't take a lot of risks. We like it the way it is. I mean, Switzerland has been neutral for over 500 years, and that's probably one of our other secrets. We don't want to be involved in wars. We want to stay neutral. We are kind of this beacon of calmness, and I think that has helped us a lot over the years.
And Deidre, what does this ranking, if we look at the whole picture, what does it tell us that people are craving most in a country nowadays?
Yeah, I think it is stability and diplomacy. You see countries like Switzerland taking this top spot, and also Japan coming up from number 7 to number 5. Just where you can see consistency and you can trust that they'll be there. Okay,
so order, and that's what a good Swiss watch will give you. Is it a running joke, Peter, in Switzerland? I mean, do you guys make fun of yourselves and say that you're boring?
I would say humor is not our strength, but what Deidre said, you know, about diplomacy, I actually think through, and diplomats tell me that through the election of Donald Trump, the importance of Switzerland has actually increased even more because the diplomatic world sees us as the only true natural country in the world. I mean, after the Ukraine crisis, the EU is not really that neutral spot anymore. And now, Peter, you know, like we think that,
Yeah, we're going to have to, Peter, I'm sorry, we're going to have to wrap it up. Peter Hosley there with Blick and Deidre McPhillips with U.S. News and World Report in Washington. To both of you, thank you very much. And to all of you watching, thank you for watching. Whatever happens between now and then, tomorrow is another day. We'll see you then, everybody.